Hello and welcome back to the Collegiate Live, the official podcast of GRCC student publication, The Collegiate. In today's episode, a recap of the June 9th Board of Trustees meeting and the conversations had there about the upcoming budget and DEI programs. Plus, our sports team gives their Tigers All-Star predictions. If you have a topic you want covered on the show or a question you want answered by one of our hosts on air, send it our way by going to thecollegiatelive.com/podcast. On June 9th, the Grand Rapids Community College Board of Trustees met for their June meeting, where many things were discussed, from DEI proposals to budget announcements to Dr. Triesenberg's first President's Report. Managing Editor Mackenzie Davis, News Editor Ava West, and myself are here to talk about it. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
There were a lot of things that happened during the meeting on June 9th. First, they approved the 2025-2026 budget, which remains unchanged from the last time they proposed it in May. The significant thing is that minimum wage is increasing nationally from $12.48 to $13.73, and so GRCC student employees, which also make a minimum wage, are getting a wage increase of from $12.50 to $13.75. It's interesting that we're always like 2 cents above minimum wage. I don't know what that's about, but we are maintaining that gap in this adjustment.
They're treating their students, making sure they get the best that they can get.
Yeah. You're technically not making minimum wage. I wonder if it's like a minimum wage employee thing. If they actually make a minimum wage, it's different than if they're not quite minimum wage.
Yeah,
But-
if they get like more funding for
Yeah.
like work studies, maybe.
Yeah, because GRCC has about 200 student employees, and they all make minimum wage. There's, as far as I know, there's not any room for raises when you're a student employee. You just get paid to be a student employee, and so they're getting paid like $1 more an hour, which is I think you can work like 28 hours a week is the maximum, or somewhere around there. So
Because you're a student employee.
Yeah.
Mhm.
20. No, I think you can work up to 40 hours. You just can't work 40.
I worked in the scene shop at the Spectrum Theater last semester, so I think my hours were different than a traditional employee because I was cutting lumber and building sets.
That's fair.
Yeah, and then there's no room for raises as far
Right.
as I know.
They actually asked that on June 9th, and no, everyone just gets paid minimum wage, or 2 cents more than minimum wage. Dr. Triesenberg also sat in on the meeting for the first time in his tenure as president. He gave his first President's Report. He thanked everybody again for their warm welcome as he began. He's expressed repeatedly how much he has appreciated their kindness and their support as he has started. He said, "I deeply appreciate their commitment to the mission of this college and to the students who are the reason for the mission, and also to the faculty and staff who execute on that mission." He also began by proposing a 4% increase in executive team's salary, which was approved unanimously. It's not infrequent for executive team to get a raise every so often, not quite yearly, but pretty regularly. Generally, executives get a raise every so often if they keep doing their job. That's sort of part of the package is we will pay you and pay you more if you keep doing a good job. 4% does seem a little bit more than I would have expected in this economy that comes in the same fiscal year as a 2.4% tuition increase that was announced for students last March. So
I mean, how big, like when you think 2.4%, it's such a little number. But like, I'm curious, like to see like if you're paying like a certain amount for a class, how much that would like change for students, especially because a lot of students, like from the mental health report study that came out, most students felt like they're stressed about financial situations going on.
And with this being a percentage increase, it will increase more the more you're already spending. So there's this sort of exponential. If you're taking one class, it will affect you a little bit. If you're taking, if you're a full-time student that's taking a lot of classes, that will affect you a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with executive salaries. If you're making the lower end of that, you'll get less. Those two things happening in tandem are not necessarily connected, but they are interesting to see happen at the same time.
So basically, what I'm seeing here, and you guys can double check me, but say so a student is paying like $600 for classes, just a random number I came up with. If you increase that by 2.4%, it says it'd be $614. So it's just like a $14 raise, which sometimes can be a lot for students.
Sure.
Yeah, but if you're taking like 5 classes,
Right.
14 times 5.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It adds up. So that's interesting.
I think the only year that GRCC hasn't had a tuition increase was during COVID. They sort of froze tuition there. It didn't go down because tuition never goes down.
Mm-hmm.
But they froze it for the time because everyone was dealing with a lot of hardship. And then eventually they decided that they were going to bring that back. And they've been increasing it every year. So 2.4% is a pretty reasonable number. 4% is a little bit high, but it's not unreasonable. but that is interesting to compare. Enrollment for next year is their goal for next year is to have 12,800 students. They're currently 48% of the way there. It's the beginning of the summer, so most students haven't enrolled yet. There will be a lot, probably about half of the students that will enroll closer to the beginning of the fall. Trusenberg said that last summer they were at 43% of the goal at this time, so they're a little bit ahead of schedule, which means that enrollment seems to be about where it was last year. Notably, GRCC is going to be shifting where students deal with their classes online from Blackboard, the software that they're currently using, to Canvas. I used Canvas in high school. It is similar to Blackboard, but it is a completely different layout and UI, and there's going to be a lot of retraining for staff that's using Blackboard, for students that have started using Blackboard. The easiest transition I think will be for people that haven't used Blackboard and just always use Canvas, but there's going to be a lot of transition for people that are used to Blackboard.
Did they say why they were changing that?
I don't think so.
Because I feel like a lot of, I don't know why everyone, because I also shifted to Canvas in high school.
Yeah.
And it was kind of difficult because I was so used to like Google and everything that was going there. I don't, like, we used Google Classroom for a while in high school.
So did we until we switched to Canvas.
Mm-hmm.
Canvas, and this is just my experience, feels like it is a little bit more universal than Blackboard. I think Blackboard, from the people I've talked to, is very college focused.
Yeah.
And Canvas is in high schools and in colleges and in, I think, more environments. So I wonder if it is becoming more of an industry leader or if it's just more widely applicable.
Well, they might be doing it just because so many high schools are using Canvas. So it's an easier transition for high school students, especially since we have so many high school students taking classes here while they're still in school.
Dual enrollment will be much easier if you're using the
Mhm.
same software for both. I don't know if you could integrate those, if you could have your high school classes and your college classes in the
Oh,
same,
I don't know. That's a
because
good
it's with a
question.
different email. So I don't know if they're able to combine those or if you have a different
Oh, probably
account.
not. Yeah, you probably have to have
Yeah.
your own, like each school email
Right.
associated with
Either
your
way,
account.
it's the same UI, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Then the topic of conversation shifted to what has been a lot the last couple of months. The, as he put it, swirling winds that affect what we do and how we do it, coming from the national environment for higher education. For months now, the federal government has been suggesting that institutions of higher education change a lot of their strategies, change what they teach, specifically in relation to diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The administration threatened to pull funding from schools that didn't remove their programs. GRCC is a federally funded school and has not pulled those. Nothing has happened yet, but no one's quite sure what's happening. Triesenberg said that the school plans to see how some of the dust settles before they decide what they're going to do permanently, which to me sounds like they don't know what's happening, so they can't tell us what they're going to do because they don't know what they'll have to do, which seems like a lot of what the messaging has been recently, but maybe a little bit more transparent that they don't know.
Right, yeah. They did send out that, like, one email a couple months ago that was just like, GRCC is, as always, committed to diversity and inclusion. And so I think ideally they would like to keep the same not processes,
Programs.
programs.
Well, I will say that it definitely feels a little bit more like they're trying to communicate some of the stuff that's been going on. Because I feel like even like 2 months ago, a lot of students and staff were feeling really uncomfortable just about, the communication between executive leaders and the entire college because they weren't being super clear about it. And Trusenberg seems to be trying to make things a little bit clearer for students and staff.
It has seemed that there's a direct transition between not really saying anything, saying we don't know, and actually trying to explain what we can.
Mm-hmm.
Triesenberg pointed out at the meeting that he has been in discussions with other people in this space and trying to advocate for students and trying to have those conversations, even if conversations are all he can do right now. And while that doesn't give a lot of answers, the fact that he is saying what he can does seem to uh, be helping a lot of people with their concerns because at least we know he is talking.
Well, and he did admit too when you went and talked to him in your interview that when we asked him about the signing of the letter to
Yes.
incorporate the school into, that group of colleges to basically protect the school, he basically said he probably wouldn't be making that decision because he's an interim president and he probably would leave that for someone who would be more permanent here at the college.
I asked Dr. Triesenberg if he would sign a call for constructive engagement, which was a letter signed by a lot of leaders of colleges throughout the country advocating for less government overreach in colleges. Dr. Freiberger was asked before she left the position if she would sign it. She did not. And I asked Dr. Triesenberg if he was going to, if he was asked. And he basically said he hadn't decided, but that a lot of his decisions were, as an interim president, trying to pave the way for the next president, and he wasn't sure if he would be able to do that since his time is limited. Then the meeting was opened up to public comment, and there were 3 different assistant professors from GRCC that all commented on DEI, and specifically communication about DEI. Just a little bit ago, policy 6.1 of the school was renamed from transgender and non-binary equal opportunity to name change policy. Now, the professor admitted that could have been for any number of reasons, but in this current climate, it felt like it might have been a very specific choice to make, and the lack of communication that the school put out regarding that change was a little bit unsettling to people that had concerns in that area. And so she was advocating for more communication therein, trying to explain why they're making the choices that they do. And specifically, a different professor talked about the importance of when you're asking for feedback from students and staff, explaining why you're asking for feedback and what you're doing with that feedback, because a lot of times it feels like listening sessions say they're listening and then they don't do anything and they ask for feedback and the feedback goes nowhere. So there is communication, but there's not a lot of change. And we've been talking about how a lot of that it seems to be because they don't know what they can do next.
Right. Yeah.
But communicating that more effectively might help with some of those concerns.
Yeah. And yeah, the board didn't answer any of those comments, but that's not really uncommon either.
Their policy is that they listen to the comments, but they do not respond.
Yes, but it just it's following the pattern, unfortunately.
They also said that the search for the next permanent president is underway. They recently selected the firm that they were going to use for the search, and they've been working on the committee specifically that's going to carry that out. And they said the names for that will be available in the next few weeks, and the website for the search will be up very shortly. We'll be following up as that becomes relevant.
Is it possible for Treisenberg to like stay on as full-time president?
I think technically he could if he applied for the job and then went through the rounds of interview, given that he retired in 2023 from the Van Andel Institute and was retired and spoke to me in my interview with him about how excited he was to return to retirement. I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah.
He feels very comfortable being an interim president, but he could hypothetically if he wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I believe it's going to be an open interview, and then there's just vetting and rounds of interviews from there.
Yes, yeah. And then did we ever find out if Lepper got the job?
I don't believe he did.
Okay.
That is really interesting because I have not thought about that.
He resigned from GRCC, I think before they announced, if I'm correct, before they announced the position, and then he didn't get the job.
Would we want to explain what happened with all of that for listeners who don't know?
If you're unfamiliar, GRCC's last permanent president, Charles Lepper, while being president of GRCC, applied for a job in Wisconsin as president of their school, which was not a higher education, like a different level of school. It was another sort of equal level college. So it wasn't a career move to move on to a more prestigious institution. It was just a new job. And he allegedly didn't tell his current staff that he did that. And so shortly after he applied, he was placed on paid administrative leave for unknown reasons. And then shortly after that, he resigned from GRCC, which they announced at the board meeting without any further explanation. And then it was announced by the school in Wisconsin that he didn't get the job there. And we haven't heard from him since.
And he was at GRCC for about 2 years, I believe, correct?
Yeah, so not a super long tenure, but long enough to have gotten a raise while he was here and put his foothold in the school.
And this definitely highlights some of the larger issues that GRCC has of keeping its staff as well.
There's been a lot of staff turnover from the executive team to employees to the athletic department. There's been a lot going on. GRCC is in a time of change, and Treisenberg came in at an interesting time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, hopefully he can help the college in making people want to stay here longer. Then
That's his goal, to remind people of why GRCC is a great school and to pave the way for the next administration.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did the last presidential search last?
The search for Lepper?
Yes. Yeah.
Don't know. That was before I got here.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how long that took, but
I think they said it was like a couple months at least.
It sounds like this one is going to take this summer. So
Yeah.
their
Mhm.
plan is to have somebody by the school year-ish.
fall
Yeah.
semester.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next, our sports writers Jack Walker and Jared Tobiasen share their Tigers All-Star predictions.
Tigers are on a heater, man. They are best team in baseball, best record. They just beat the best team in the NL, the Cubs. So We're good.
20 games over
20 games
500.
over 500
First
for the
time
since 2013.
2013.
2013.
Good time to be alive for these Tigers fans, you know.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
with the All-Star game approaching fastly,
July 13th.
voting's out.
Go
It's been out
vote.
for about a week or two.
Yeah, go
Um,
vote.
So I think All-Stars usually get announced early July.
Mhm.
So we're almost it's
I
almost
think
that
it's within
time.
like the first week of July.
Yep. So since it's that time of year,
It is.
we are here to share our predictions for how the Tigers who will be represented for the
Mhm.
Tigers at the All-Star game. So you want to start first base?
We'll start with first base.
Torkelson.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't. I mean, his batting average, his 237 batting average, might be like a problem in the All-Star
for
voting.
the old head voters.
But like, I'm sorry, you're like 4th in the league in home runs with 16 home runs. You have 47 RBIs. You're 4th in the league for that with an 850 OPS.
I think it's
And he's insane
yeah.
at first base.
Yeah.
Like he should, if not a starter for first base, he should definitely be the backup.
I think he
should be an
will make
all-star.
it. I think it's the home run number that's gonna.
It's at home run and the RBIs.
'Cause
The
it's-
home
I
run
think-
and the RBIs.
I think second place in home run is 10. He has
Yeah.
16. So
His
I think
timely hitting too is
yeah.
like if you pay attention, like if you actually watch the baseball games, you can tell he has really good timely hitting.
Yep.
When we need when we need runs, he's getting us those runs.
Yep. So I think his home run and RBI numbers will put him in.
Yeah, 100%.
Moving on to second base.
Second base. This is
thi-
no doubt. I think Gleyber Torres is the starter.
I think Glaber has a
He-
pretty good shot
Yeah,
at starting.
he in my eyes is no doubt the best second baseman in the AL.
Yeah, I think the second base position's been a little weak this year.
Yes.
It really seems like it's between him, Jackson Holiday of the Orioles,
Mhm.
and Willie Castro, former Tiger.
Former-
Could be a
yeah.
two-time All-Star
Yeah.
of the Twins. I just think Glaber's been the most consistent of the
Yeah.
bunch. I think he's gonna. It's not a great competition there.
No, it's not. He's
Even
got
if he
273
somehow
batting
doesn't
average.
start, he's making it. I think
Oh, yeah.
regardless. But I think he should start and will. Plus, being a former Yankee, a lot of fan
Oh, yeah.
votes. People will
Yeah.
vote for him. I think Glaber will make it in.
One of my biggest points. I mean, he has a 273 batting average, which was one of the better ones of second basemen. He does have a 775 OPS,
which is high actually.
which is
for-
pretty high
for
but, like,
second
when you think of-
baseman,
yeah,
yeah.
when you think of 800 is about average for most
for
really
All Stars.
talented- yeah.
Yeah.
The 33 walks
It's been
to
impressive.
29
It's been very
strikeouts.
impressive.
He has more walks and strikeouts, which is super rare in
Yeah.
the MLB nowadays.
Yeah.
With how pitching is.
Not many do that.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we're both agreeing. Gleyber Torres,
Yep.
second baseman, all-star. He for sure, in my opinion, should be an all-star. Should
Moving
be the
on.
starter.
Yeah. Moving on to third base. This one. I think it's a lot of very good players at third base
Yeah.
this year, but it seems like Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez from the Guardians should be it.
You know-
I am an advocate for Zach McKinstry as a Tiger to be a sub in some way, shape, or form, just because he's that gadget player. He's been playing third base really well lately. Well, and shortstop and outfield.
He's
when
played everywhere.
He's played everywhere, and that's why I love him. But like,
It's too many. There's too many players that have been good there. Michael Garcia, Bregman's been injured. If he'll,
Yep.
Isaac Paredes, another
Mhm.
former Tiger. Just too much competition. Not a slight against McKinstry. I think in most years he would have a shot.
yeah,
But third base has just been
I mean,
incredible this year.
276 batting average. He's a .01 under 800 OPS.
Yep.
Like he's right there. He leads. He's
And he plays
tied
everywhere.
for the league in triples.
Yep.
7 triples. Keep in mind, this person in second is with 3.
Yeah, I mean it's
Like
been
him and I think
Duran of the Red
Jaron
Sox.
Duran
yeah.
are like way ahead. He's got 1.6 WAR, so he's effective on defense.
Yep.
He is really effective.
So shortstop. Don't think we'll be seeing a Tiger
No.
this year. Unfortunately, Trey Sweeney has sort of
Not
struggled
been-
as of
yeah,
late.
He has struggled. for
And
sure.
again, another position, lot of talent. Jacob Wilson of the
Yep.
Athletics. I mean, what an incredible rookie year he's having.
Oh yeah.
I think he should be the starter. I think he's hitting a 360,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
um,
he is.
which is just nuts for a
Yeah, he's got
for
a
a rookie.
900
It's nuts for
OPS.
anybody, but for a rookie to
Yeah.
come in the league and hit 360,
Yeah.
I mean, he's very much deserving. I mean,
He's
Bobby,
doing,
yeah,
he's doing better than Bobby Witt. Like
right, Bobby
who's
Witt's
a seasoned veteran.
Jeremy Pena has also been really good.
Yeah,
Jeremy Pena's been really good. Zach Neto's been good.
Mhm.
Shortstop, a lot of talent there for the American League.
Unfortunately, none of them are.
None of them are Detroit Tigers. Would
If-
love for all of them to be.
I would think Javi Baez has a chance if he had played shortstop the entire season.
Right, but he
because he
is
switched from center field to
he is listed as
shortstop.
an outfielder.
It kind of just throws it off a little bit.
Yep. So
All right.
speaking of outfield, we got 3 you can vote for the starting
Yes,
position.
sir.
I think about 6 make it usually every year.
Yep. 3 starters, 3 subs.
So the Tigers on the ballot, I believe they have Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Javier Baez.
Javier Baez.
I would say in that order is their best chance of making it. I think Riley has the best shot.
I think Riley is one of the best left outfielders
Definitely.
in baseball right
Yep.
now.
He there's a chance he doesn't start, but I think he'll for sure
Yeah.
make it, you know? I just think his offensive numbers just kind of Judge is obviously.
Judge
Is
yeah.
he's a shoe-in
No doubter.
for starting. He's
He's
going
a
to start.
He's
gonna
a
start.
shoe-in for MVP.
He is.
Honestly, I don't think anyone's
he's
gonna
not he
top
doesn't
that.
he has video game numbers. So
Yeah,
he's
he does have video
so it really
games
comes
numbers.
down to the other 2 spots, you know? There's a lot of competition.
There is.
Steven Kwan's been good. Julio
Mhm.
Rodriguez has been good.
I don't think the
s-
offensive numbers have been there for Quan.
Yeah, and you could say the same for Rodriguez, but their defensive
Yeah, their defensive numbers.
bit better than Riley Green, you know, so it puts their
Yeah.
WAR a little bit higher. But
The thing about Riley Green is though
has the homers,
he's made those
the
the homers,
RBIs.
but he's made those star
he
like,
does make
game-saving catches.
when he makes a catch, that dude look pretty cool. He's
Yeah.
good at making cool looking catches.
I think he averages like 5 to 6 broken pairs of glasses a
Prob-
season.
Sounds
you
about
know,
right.
With
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
belly dives that he does.
So I think Riley's gonna make it.
Yep.
Carpenter, I don't think will make it.
I think
he
Carpenter
could be
will
close.
make it as a sub.
He could make it as a sub. I wonder now for voting he's listed as an outfielder, but I wonder if they could make him a DH at any. I don't know how that would work.
Possibly, because
If
Yeah.
that's the case, then he would have probably
Yeah.
a better shot. He would probably need to get going the next couple weeks. He's like right there. You know, it won't take much.
I mean, it's gonna be like it's about summer weather now. So
Yeah,
one hot balls are gonna be
y-
flying.
One hot stretch from him, he'll probably have a good shot at making it, but we'll see. Probably 50-50.
50-50.
Javi, on the other hand, he's had a nice resurgence this year, but unfortunately,
not all-star numbers.
not all-star.
Not all-star
But
numbers.
a nice sight to see for
Yeah,
Tigers.
it is a
fans,
really
yeah.
nice, especially for $140 million contract.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
finally good that he's coming out.
In the first
and-
3 years, were anyways,
we don't talk about that.
catcher position. Tigers have a guy who will
Yep.
not be starting because of one Cal Raleigh of the
Yep.
Mariners, but
Mariners.
Dylan Dingler, he's gonna have a good. He's gonna have a good shot.
I think he'll be that second string, and I think it's. I mean, his offensive numbers have been amazing to see throughout the start of the season. He's been hitting really well, hitting bombs. He's getting on base. That's what matters.
Yep.
But him on defense from the catcher position,
He's the best. He might be the best catcher
He's been
defensively.
his
in the league.
pop up time
Right.
has
Now
been
that might.
so nice.
His defense might separate him because I think it's gonna come down to him and Carlos Navarez of
Yes.
the Red Sox for that second spot.
I
Who's
think
also
that defense will.
the defense might lift Dingler because Navarez offensive numbers are slightly better, but not by much. But the
And
defense
It's
might.
not just the defense; it's the way he calls the pitches and
Right.
calls the game.
Yeah, and they might factor
Like-
in team ERA
Yeah.
because the Red Sox, outside of Crochet, have not been spectacular
He-
pitching. So
He has been a big reason. I mean, obviously, pitchers take the credit for having the control of their pitches, having that command. But Dingler has been doing a really good job of seeing how the batters are
Yep.
and seeing what those batters are seeing and adjusting to those.
Yep. Yeah, he's been incredible. Even if he
Yeah.
doesn't make it, everyone's happy with how his development has
Yeah.
turned out. DH, Colt Keith is not gonna make it.
Not
Say
gonna
it
make
right now.
He was cold to start the season. He's
He's been-
warmed up a little bit, but
He's been fine. He's been just fine.
he's on a
but
12, 13 game hit streak.
he's been hitting better as of late.
It's
but
just cold start.
Devers and Ryan
Ryan O'Hearn.
O'Hearn of
Yeah.
the Orioles have just
Yep.
been far and away
Yeah.
the more superior DHs, which is fine. They've been
Yeah.
Devers is really good.
Mhm.
Now pitching is not available to vote for.
Which I think is the dumbest thing ever.
Uh,
but if
but we
we
could
were allowed
still-
to vote, I don't think it would be a vote.
Scooble would
Skubal.
be Yeah, he's the question is not will Skubal make it, it's will he start the game,
And I
because
think he should.
he should have started last year.
Yeah,
I
he
think
should
they-
have started last year.
Corbin
He should
Burns
start
got
this
it.
year. He just recently had that Maddox.
Yep.
That,
He's the best
by
pitcher
the way,
in baseball.
I saw the YouTube video. I can't remember who it was from, but he said you have the Maddox, right? Named after one of the best pitchers to ever play baseball. He's like, we should do a new one that's not Maddox, but it's called the Skubal, and
Skubal.
it's under 100 pitches, a complete game under 100 pitches with,
What do you have,
I think it was 10 plus.
I think he had 13 in that strikeouts.
Yeah, or I
yeah.
think it was like 13 plus strikeouts,
Yeah.
and
You won't be seeing that for a while.
like 3 or less hits, something like
Yeah.
that, or like less than a
Yeah, you won't be seeing that stat line.
that
I mean,
is like that was his.
I don't really care what the ERA says because his isn't bad. There's people in front of him in ERA.
Yeah, but like
He's still the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah,
The-
I mean,
the strikeout,
7 walks all season.
right? And 3 of those came in one game against the Mariners.
Yeah,
So
7 walks to 105 strikeouts.
yeah, he's by far and away the
Insane.
best pitcher.
He averages 11 strikeouts a game.
He will be starting. He should be starting.
Yeah.
The All-Star game. He'll probably win Cy Young again.
Yeah.
He's the best pitcher in baseball. Any other starters on the Tigers? I don't think so, because the
No.
American League's been really good with pitching
No.
this year. It has been.
I think you could, like, if Parker Meadows started the season,
He could have
like,
had a shot.
He
but
would have had a shot just because of his glove.
relievers, I think Canley and Vest have a shot. I don't
Yeah.
know if they'll make it though, but we'll
You
see.
made a good-
Relievers are
yeah.
because you have to factor in every team has to have one All-Star. So there's
Mhm.
going to be teams that don't have anyone worthy of a position player, and they
They'll
usually
just
just
go
go to
on a reliever.
relievers. So
Yeah.
relievers are tricky, for All-Stars. Even if they're not, though, they both had pretty incredible years. Brant Herter's also been
Yeah,
really good. out of
Wolfest has been insane.
yeah,
Brand
so
Herter,
he's been
he had a
good.
good game yesterday.
So, yeah, I mean, I think overall, for my ballot, I have, I can't vote for Skubal yet, but if I could, I would have 4 Tigers making it. That being
For sure.
Torkelson, Torres, Green, Skubal,
yeah,
and I could see like maybe a Flaherty if he keeps it going, and there's like
Yeah.
an injury replacement, or a Carpenter. I could see Dingler as well. Oh, I would vote for Dingler for the Cal Rally.
yeah.
I think there's a good shot we're gonna see 5+.
5, yeah.
Which would
5
be
or 6 is what my guess is.
the
gonna
best team
be.
in baseball should have.
Yes.
That,
Oh, 1000%.
So overall, very, very incredible start to the season.
yeah.
Hopefully they keep it going.
Hopefully after the All-Star break they keep it going.
The Collegiate Live is the official podcast of GRCC student publication The Collegiate. For more information or to submit a question to be read on air, go to thecollegiatelive.com/podcast.